Welcome to HSG. I'm Connor and I'm doing something a little bit different today. A RWBY theory video. Fair warning, this video will have spoilers through Volume 6. Now that you've been warned, let's begin. One of the greatest mysteries in RWBY is pretty much everything surrounding the Maidens. We don't know for certain where they originated, everything they can do, or even who they all are. All we know for certain is that there are 4 of them, they're capable of magic, and they transfer exclusively to young women. So this theory is meant to question the one and only weakness that we've seen the Maidens have. In short, this theory is that the Maidens are actually part Grimm. To start off, let's talk about the 2 possible origins of the Maidens. In World of Remnant, the 4 Maidens, we get the first possible origin. To summarize, there was an old wizard who lived alone. One day, he was visited by 4 young maidens who together warmed and opened up his heart. When he asked them why they've been so good to him, they said that this is what they do for everyone. So as a thank you, the old wizard conjured as much magic as he could to bless these young maidens and bestow upon them magical gifts. And this was how the maidens got their power. That's the first version of the origin that we've been told. The second was revealed in Volume 6. In Volume 6, we discovered the true origins behind Oz and Salem. They were once lovers and were both cursed by the gods in very different ways. Salem was cursed with immortality, and Oz was cursed with an endless cycle of reincarnation. But before the 2 reunited through their curses, Salem, having dealt with her curse for far longer, tried to permanently end her life by throwing herself into the pools of Grimm. Instead, due to her immortality, she was bestowed a second curse. Her appearance was altered to reflect the Grimm and her anger. She was now a being craving pure destruction. To quote Jin, anyway. Oz, having reincarnated for the first time, tried to find his long-lost love, which he inevitably did. Together, the 2 fell in love once again, and they had 4 children, all girls. Each of the daughters' clothing represented the 4 seasons, and we see that they inherited their parents' ability to use magic as well. The second version hasn't been officially confirmed, but I personally find it to be the far more likely of the 2. RWBY is a show that's built on fairy tales, and that's exactly how that first version reads. But every fairy tale began with some semblance of truth, and I think that the second version is that truth. As such, this theory is predicated on version 2 being that true version. So, with the origin of the Maidens out of the way, let's jump to the next part of this theory. How would they be part Grimm? Well, we have 2 separate points of reference. First, there's the fact that the Maidens reincarnate. It's unknown if this is a result of Oz being their father and some of his curse being handed down, or another unique form of magic. Personally, I think it's the former. The second point of reference has more evidence behind it. In the start of Volume 4, we see a now wounded Cinder. This wound came from RWBY, who used her Silver Eyes power to turn the wyvern that was attacking Beacon Academy to stone. But clearly, it also affected Cinder quite dramatically. Half of her face has been scarred and her left arm has been heavily damaged as well. She can barely even speak. Then, when Watts brings up that Cinder should have had no trouble besting RWBY in combat, Salem says, "It is because of the Maiden's power. Make no mistake, Cinder, you hold the key to our victory, but your newfound strength brings with it a crippling weakness." This weakness clearly being the Silver Eyes power. From what we've seen, the Silver Eyes only affect the Grimm and the Maidens, so them sharing a trait to spawn this weakness seems quite likely to me. Now, referring back to the first point, where part of Oz's curse may have been handed down to his daughters and thus making them the Maidens, wouldn't this mean that some of Salem's curse could have been transferred as well? We know for a fact that the Maidens aren't immortal, so perhaps Salem's second curse was inherited, the Curse of Grimm. This makes sense from what we've seen, and it's further evidenced when we see Cinder's Grimm arm in Volume 5. While this could certainly just be part of Salem's powers, I find this unlikely. Primarily because when Tyrion loses his tail to RWBY, Salem tells Watts to engineer him a new one. So if that was her power, why not just make him a Grimm tail? Well, because it just wouldn't be compatible with him. He's not part Grimm. I think this theory makes sense and will likely be revealed in the future. It covers how Cinder was wounded, it works with the most likely origin of the Maidens, and it's an interesting plot point for the future. It also adds a possible motive for why the Silver-Eyed Warriors have been hunted in the past, referring to the fight between Talk and Maria. Maybe Salem wanted them eliminated before her plans of gathering the Maidens together. Or maybe there's a twist. Maybe Oz hired these mercenaries so that they couldn't hurt his daughters anymore. But that's a theory for a different video. So, yeah, that about covers it. What do you think of this theory? Are there holes in it, or does it make sense? Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications as well. And we also have a Patreon if you're feeling generous. Finally, if you'd like to see more of these theory videos, please let me know. I have plenty of other theories, like around the Silver-Eyed Warriors, the Two Gods, and Atlas Academy Colossus mode. Okay, that last one isn't a theory. I just love to see Atlas Academy turn into a giant robot next season. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.